Hello again. He's the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck. I am Tripp Rogers, and it's the Fantasy Sultans Week 15. We've made it to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And Mike, you gave me some good news as we got ready to tape this. Our Rat League team made the playoffs, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll take
Yeah.
it. We'll take it. We got the sixth
Yes, we
seed. We
will.
we we
We we
uh
we
it
needed
was
a
a
little
must-win
Monday night
game.
miracle.
That's right. And we got it. And
We
we
got the
got it.
miracle.
Yep.
However, good news, bad news. The bad news, we didn't make the Sultans. Both of
No.
us shut out.
No.
And we have a message from our buddy Mac, which we are going to share with you.
Day Hall of Famer and Tripp. Do you hear that? There's a thunder in the distance. Here comes the Fantasy Sultans Revenge Tour. Oh, wait, it got derailed. Kind of hard to do a revenge tour in the consolation bracket. And since Stephanie was offering free trauma counseling a few weeks ago for anyone that listened, does that mean that she gets to offer some to Mr. Tripp for knocking you out of the playoff hunt? Anyway, just wanted to say you are the Fantasy Sultans, and I am not, because I'm enjoying my first round bye as the number 2 seed. Enjoy the fight for 7th place.
This is the guy last year who was bragging how well he did in the consolation bracket. And we said, who cares? Of course, he didn't have to play. We could have a championship game between the two of us. I mean, a bit it's the consolation, but we could have a championship game, which is what we wanted. We
True.
wanted that.
Just
But,
not the right championship game.
yeah, not the right championship game. Boy.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
was tough. I mean, Stephanie beating me. And by the way, I did check, and Steph has reiterated she will give both of us counseling for this fantasy season. Week 14, once again, was another week that just kind of, not shocked us, but just another week where we had a lot of ups and downs. You had injuries. I mean, listen, one of the things that I think has been a surprise and has definitely made the list of grievances for our Fantasy Festivus, which, by the way, we're going to do next week, which is always a fun time.
I'm sure it'll be a long list. Yeah.
Justin Jefferson made that list last week. 3.1 points when I needed him to be Justin Jefferson. And you can't even blame the quarterback. He threw 3 touchdown passes. None of them to Justin Jefferson. I mean, that was the thing that just killed me. But, listen, that's what fantasy's about, and we talk about quarterbacks. I mean, Jaden Daniels, disappointing last week. And, they said, oh, he could have come back in the game. Yeah, he could have come back in the game, but he's not going to play this week against the Giants. So if you got Jaden Daniels, you got to think about getting a replacement there. Other thoughts on week 14, Mike?
Well, we're talking about the leaders of the pack. Mac. Now we are kicking it back to the running back. Return of the back once again. Return of the back once again. Yeah, how about Jahmyr Gibbs of Detroit? Man, we talk about him each and every week on this podcast. I am really so glad that I rostered him this season. Would definitely grab him again next season if I'm in that position to do so. 12 rushing attempts, 43 yards, 3 touchdowns last week, proving yet again he is fantasy money. I think anybody who was rostering him throughout the playoffs really just hopes that he continues that stride, because you always want those running backs, any player, not even just running back, any player to put up big numbers. And, when you're putting up 35, 40 points a week, that turns out to be maybe a quarter of your team or more. That is a good thing. And, you can't go wrong there. How about Devon Achane? I mean, here's, a guy that we're talking about a lot too this season. Another 1,000-yard season. He's eclipsed 1,100. He went 7 for 92 last week, 1 touchdown against the NYJ. I'd keep an eye on his health because, if he misses time, Jalen Wright would become the lead back. Ollie Gordon would be a mix at the goal line. But again, when he's healthy, Devon Chen has been grinding it out for the Dolphins, to say the least, this season. Also grinding it out for Denver. Yeah, R.J. Harvey, 100 scrimmage yards and a rushing touchdown against Las Vegas. Over the last 3 games since J.K. Dobbins went on IR, Harvey has had over 200 scrimmage yards, 3 scores. And if you're wondering about Dobbins, I mean, even if he does return from a foot injury at the end of the regular season, Harvey's got to be in line to be that number 1 back for Denver. He has been really the guy to trust, but he does have a tough test this week against that Green Bay defense. It's very good. But here at the Fantasy Sultans, we're more than just running backs. We're going to talk about Zay Flowers. He had a nice week in Baltimore. He scored over 20 PPR points.
That was Smith. Stephanie. That was the reason why I lost to Stephanie, by the way.
Yeah.
Jackson Zay Flowers.
Smith. Yeah. Jackson Smith and Jigba back to rare form for Seattle. Close to 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tight end Harold Fannin just keeps on scoring in Cleveland. 114 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert in Philly also got some love there too. 8 receptions, 10 targets, 78 yards. Kind of that breakout performance from him that we were looking for. But you know what? The biggest injury of the week, Daniel freaking Jones. Yeah, he goes down with an Achilles injury. He's done for the season. And Phillip Rivers, I said Phillip Rivers, the 44-year-old quarterback. Rivers. Yeah, he is back to play in the NFL. Now, as a fantasy, quarterback, I don't know if I'm going to be able to trust him. This is a guy that's just coming off the bench, coming off his couch, basically, to basically, lead the Colts team in hopes that the Colts make the playoffs. I think it's going to be a tough challenge for them. But again, with Phillip Rivers, I'm not so sure I'm going to trust him, at least in the first week. He might be an import down the line, but this week, no, I'm not importing him.
Well, the interesting part of this is going to be, first of all, because Phillip Rivers has not played, and he is not on any fantasy radar, nothing.
No.
And the thing is, he's on the practice squad. He was signed to the practice squad. So you could not add him until he is put on the roster, and they would then add him in. And it'll be a feeding frenzy because somebody's going to want to grab him, even if it's just to have him just in case. Because if Phillip Rivers comes out and plays like Joe Flacco did getting off the couch last year for the Cleveland Browns, it could be money, and it could be the difference in winning and losing down the road. But, and there's a but, 4 years out, how good is he going to be? But I just, by the way, I don't know if you saw the quote that was attributed him, because he met with the media, and he said he watched the game and he saw the injury and he thought, I wonder if Shane's going to call me, because he and Shane Steichen are good friends. They worked together with the Chargers, and then he played for Indianapolis that one season before he retired. And Shane Steichen called him up and said, let's go. Let's do it. We want you. So, like I said, I think it'd be a surprise if Phillip Rivers did not start Sunday. But again, you have to watch. If you're really desperate for a quarterback and you want to get him, you've got to watch when he gets elevated. Put in your claim right there, because remember, after the initial waiver period in lots of leagues, and there are some leagues that don't, but after the initial waiver period, you add a player right away. There's no going through waivers or anything. And this will be an interesting, again, it's going to be the first come, first serve type of thing. And so keep an eye on that, because that's going to be a story to watch. Because, again, they don't have to do anything. They signed him to the practice squad. They don't have to do anything until Saturday. And if they do, jump on them if you need a quarterback. I'm just saying. Import exports is what we do. Week 15. It is the first round of the fantasy playoffs. Mike, who you got on your list that you're checking twice?
I am checking it twice. I'll start with this guy who's 100% must roster. Tennessee's running back, Tony Pollard. Talk about a performance against one of the best run defenses in the NFL. To Pollard rushed for over 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, you might say the Titans are a 2-win team, and yeah, they are. So why should you trust that offense? Well, he does have value, and Tennessee has been relying a bit more on that running game. Over 6 games with over 60 or more rushing yards. He scored 29 fantasy points last week. I would import him. Next up, wide receiver Ryan Flanoy in Dallas. Now, Flanoy exploded onto the scene in relief of an injured CeeDee Lamb who left Thursday night's game against the Lions. 9 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Dak Prescott targeted him 13 times as George Pickens was struggling in that game. Even if Lamb is a go this week, there's potential upside for Flanoy. He had a great game in week 5. He's got big game abilities. I think he'll do it this week. Now, if Travis Kelce is not doing it for you, we can add Mark Andrews in that conversation too. Then perhaps Andrews' counterpart, Isaiah Likely in Baltimore, can. We all know the Ravens have been a nightmare this season, but Likely is a bright spot in that offense. He, too, caught 9 passes for 120 yards and a touchdown. Another plus for grabbing Likely, his playoff schedule against Cincinnati, against New England. These are 2 teams that are giving up bigger points to tight ends. And as I like to say, Likely is a definite for your lineup. How about a defense that you might be spot starting this week? We've talked about spot starts. Chicago Bears. The Bears.
Bears.
They get Cleveland on Sunday, and they have been a real threat. I mean, the only player for the Browns that really has been a real threat for them has been Quinshawn Judkins. And I think Chicago should be able to control this game and control the score. I like this pickup. I would import the Bears.
The Bears.
Export. Bears. Let's do it. Export. I'll take a page from your daughter Steph's book. Speaking of the Bears. Well, this is the Bears player, but, Jaden Daniels. Last week, he left the game with an elbow injury, and head coach Dan Quinn said he could have returned in last week's contest, but the team decided to exercise caution. He also said Daniels would return sometime this season as he will not be shut down. But when he returns is going to be a big question. He's already been ruled out against the Giants. And with little to play for, Tripp, I don't see why they just don't shut him down for the season. I would not feel comfortable rostering a maybe in your lineup. And who knows when he might play this season. And Steph was one of them who already made the call weeks ago and dumped Daniel. So, this is a page out of her book there. Christian Kirk, one more export for you. A wide receiver in Houston. Last week, C.J. Stroud attempting 31 passes. He only completed 15. Kirk, he shared the same target count as running back Woody Marks. Now, what does that tell me? Well, Marks is valued a lot in that offense. He found the end zone twice, and Kirk only found 1 reception for 6 yards. 204 yards on the season. Now, you might be okay carrying him into the playoffs, but the reality is he's inconsistent, and some weeks the good Kirk shows up, some weeks it's the bad Kirk. You do not want to be stuck with the bad Kirk in the playoffs. Don't beam him up, Scotty.
I was waiting for the Star Trek joke. I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to come. All right. I got import exports for you. First, I'm going to go imports. One of the things the Los Angeles Rams, it's been somewhat of a surprise this year. Blake Corum has played really well. Rams, 249 rushing yards, week 14. Corum got 128 yards and a pair of TDs. Kyron Williams outsnapped Corum, but Williams only had 1 more rushing attempt, and Corum was very efficient with his touches. Now, Sean McVay says he plans to keep Williams fresh for the postseason. He garnered between 12 and 14 carries in each of the last 5 games for the Rams. Corum has commanded 39% of LA's carry, according to the Fantasy Life Utilization Report. The Rams continue to rotate their backs. Corum's been producing in that role as they approach the playoffs, and they keep Williams rested. Now, Los Angeles does play the 6th toughest playoff schedule for our running backs during the fantasy playoffs, including Week 15's home date against the Lions. Keep that in mind, but Corum continues to produce. I would grab him. He's got some upside for you. All right, Mike talked about exporting Jaden Daniels. He's re-injured his left elbow. He is out And of course, the Commanders have been eliminated from postseason contention. Daniels missed 6 games with hamstring and elbow injuries this year. Marcus Mariota, 3 consecutive top 12 finishes, weeks 10 through 13. Washington boasts the league's easiest playoff schedule for quarterbacks. Commanders play a Giants defense that has allowed the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Mariota makes sense for fantasy managers who planning to use Daniels or a Superplex QB2. They'll just need to watch to make sure that Washington's turning to him instead of sticking with Daniels. And, of course, we know the answer to that question this week. They're going with him. Luther Burden for the Bears, wide receiver. Rome Odunze is week to week with a stress factor in his foot. Odunze missed week 14 against Green Bay. Burden with an expanded row, the second-round rookie, season-high 69% of Chicago's snaps. He had 6 targets, 4 receptions, and 67 yards. He's been trending upwards for weeks. Mike, you had him on the imports a couple of weeks ago. Week 14, Burden and Zacchaeus they split their Odunze's perimeter snaps and also rotated. Burden was far more involved than Zacchaeus. Of course, Odunze's health is going to be the question, but we expect Burden to be more involved in Chicago's passing attack. Now, tough flex option against a tough Cleveland defense this week, but a rematch with the Packers the following week could be good. Jalen Wright, running back for the Miami Dolphins. Devon Achane is the man in Miami. He fell and hurt his ribs after a 29-yard run. Wright was the guy who kind of inherited his role, although Ollie Gordon chipped in 17 yards in a short yardage TD, but Wright 107 yards and a touchdown. It looks like Achane will play this week, but the game is on Monday night in Pittsburgh. But Wright is the guy after Achane exited. View Wright as a priority if you're trying to add some insurance behind Achane. He would be the guy I would get. Standalone, no value. Streaming defense. The surging Jacksonville Jaguars play the NYJ. Jaguars have now taken control of the AFC South. Another strong performance from their defense. Colts were held to 285 yards in offense, and there were 3 turnovers. The Jaguars now have the third most turnovers and get an ideal matchup week 15 against the New York Jets. They've got issues at quarterback now. Looks like they're going to go with undrafted free agent rookie Brady Cook. But regardless who is under center, Jacksonville's defense will keep rolling in week 15. And if they're available, that would be the top streaming defense. All right, my export candidate, Oronde Gadsden for the Los Angeles Chargers, tight end. Now, we were high on him, and he was an import. We both had him as an import earlier in the year, but he's been fading for a while. 1 catch, 7 yards on Monday night. Chargers aren't passing much. Next week's matchup with the Chiefs looks like one to avoid. Consider dropping Gadsden if you have another viable tight end because he is not doing the job. Those are my import and exports for this week. I forgot one other export. I'm sorry. CJ Stroud. Now, Stroud, to be fair, he's a good NFL quarterback. He's trying to lead the Titans to his third AFC South title in as many pro seasons. But he's no rushing upside. Former Ohio State star has not done well. I mean, 22 quarterbacks have averaged 15 fantasy points a game this season. He's not one of them. Last time he hit benchmark week 8. I think you can probably drop him if you would like to. And those are my import-exports for week 15. Mike, any last-minute words of encouragement or words of wisdom? Because you are the Hall of Famer, and I trust your wisdom.
Well, I want to talk about the cornerstone of a successful fantasy football strategy. I think you need to prioritize depth versus upside during the regular season. You might be inclined to carry lottery ticket players, but in December, every roster spot is a must-serve purpose. You do not want maybes in your lineup. Like I said earlier, you want a definite. You also need handcuffs for your strategy and protect your investment because handcuffing players is an insurance policy that, significant injuries could happen to players. Star running backs go down with significant injuries. You need to have depth on your roster. Also, we talked about spot starting and streaming. Many managers, yeah, they optimize their weekly selections based on matchup analysis. Quarterback streaming during the playoffs requires a very different approach than the regular season. Rather than chasing the highest projected points, you should focus on floor and ceiling combinations that are tailored to your needs. So, I'm talking about if you're projected to be in a close matchup, prioritize quarterbacks with consistent production. If you're going to against a superior opponent, target ones with explosive potential. You need to fully analyze your roster. This is the playoffs, and we know it. It's win or go home. You don't get a second chance. It's not set it for and forget it, because if you set it and forget it, you might as well just forget about it.
You like my hat there?
I was just going to say, I am liking the hat.
If you're watching the podcast, you can see I have my Noggin Boss hat on, or the NYG, the New York Giants. I'm still repping them. And, people would say this is finally the hat that can match my big head. I was waiting. You can make a comment. I
didn't say it. It wasn't me.
You can say it if you want to.
I didn't say it.
You can say it. I'm not going to be offended. No, I won't be offended. But anyhow, week 15, the playoffs this week, and we wish you good luck. We thank you for listening. We're the ones who are trying to help you. Next week, Fantasy Festivus. Maybe we should have Mac and Matt Lee in the feats of strength for that.
I like that idea.
That's a great idea. We'll have the feats of strength with those guys. Fantasy Festivus next week, and of course, the airing of grievances. And as we've alluded in the show, the list of fantasy grievances is very long for us, because we are bitter people. As Max said, our revenge tour has derailed. So, but the only good thing, the funny part of it is, we're both in the consolation round. And I think I checked it out. We could play each other in the championship of the consolation, which would be pretty cool. Wrong championship game, but still, it'd still be fun. It'd be fun to play. We'll
still continue our quest in the Rat League, of course.
Oh yeah, the Rat League. Like I said, I've got week 2 of 2 ESPN leagues. One I did really well in. The other one, Jaden Daniels really killed me, although I'm only 5 points behind. So that's not really much if you consider this week. And again, Jackson Dart is going to be playing quarterback on that. And again, I think that's one of the surprises. On that team, I have Saquon Barkley, and he did really well for me this week. Listen, I was surprised the Eagles lost the other night. We'll talk about that. By the way, don't forget about our Sunday show, Sunday with the Sultans, which is on foxsportsnewjersey.com. You can listen to it online Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. And we talk about the Jets, Giants, and the Eagles. And it's surprising, but all 3 teams are playing in the 1 o'clock window this weekend, which is amazing. But if you can't get enough of the Fantasy Sultans, that's where you listen on Sunday for the Sunday with the Sultans. Otherwise, we'll catch you back here next week for Fantasy Festivus. Week 16 of the NFL is next week, and it will be week 2 of the fantasy playoffs. We help you. We try to make it well for your team. We give you good advice because we're givers. And yes, I know our dreams were derailed in the Sultans League, but we're still here to help you, even though Stephanie says she's offering free counseling for those people who listened to us and did not do well. He's Mike Scheck, the Hall of Famer. I'm Tripp Rogers. We are the Fantasy Sultans.
And you are not.